This week, I made a mind-bending puzzle game. Then, towards the very end of development, I ran into a lot of trouble with the puzzle design. Let's check it out and see if I can find a solution. This week's project is a little puzzle game I made called Node-O-Matic. In Node-O-Matic, you solve puzzles by bringing power to all of the blue, red, and purple nodes. Blue and red wires are not allowed to cross each other, but purple wires are neutral. Now let's check out the development. I was toying around with a few different prototypes, like I usually do, when I had a sudden dewdrop of inspiration hit me. I opened a new project in Construct 3 and quickly hammered out a prototype for a new game mechanic, which is drawing out a power line from one node and attaching it to another. At the time, this design seemed like it had great potential for a puzzle game. I quickly added in locked gates with corresponding power nodes to unlock them, as well as purple nodes. I also added in a tile map to add a boundary area for the puzzles. With several main mechanics already finished, I got started on the artwork. I did the nodes, and the gates. I added in a new background, and I made a title and some artwork for the game's buttons. I used vector art for this game, which is something I haven't done for a long time. For the past couple of years, I've mostly been using pixel art. But when I first started game development as a kid, I had this vector art program called Artboard, which I really enjoyed using. And in my old games, that was what I used for most of my art. Also, I've been overusing this font called JUNEGULL, but I love it, so it's been featured heavily in the last few projects. I found it on 1001 free fonts, and there's a link to it down below. With the art assets finished, I added a lot of juicy effects, such as this particle effect and this screen transition. I then added sound effects to the game. As I've mentioned before, I've been using the Sound Effects Bible to help me improve my sound design. This game seemed like it needed a cool and classy song for the background music. So, I did my best to come up with something that would be interesting to listen to while playing, but wouldn't get too repetitive or annoying. I really hope I succeeded, but what do you think? Okay, we are nearly to the part of the video where I talk about the troubles I had with puzzle design. But first, I want to show you my favorite part of the game. It's this. Hey man, that's just an options menu! Why is that your favorite part of the game? Well, I'll tell you. It's because it's so smooth and simple. As I improve my design ability, I find that sometimes mechanics I used to have trouble with can be done very simply as I grow and add to my knowledge and skills. This menu is the result of me learning a lot of different things over time to get a simple but powerful effect. That's why I like it. If you want to continue to watch me learn and improve, why not subscribe to the channel? Could be fun. We're finally to the part of the video where I talk about the difficulty I had as I designed the game's puzzles. It started out easy enough. I knew I had to introduce the player to new mechanics in a way that would be intuitive. For example, you can only stretch a power line so far before it loses connection. So in order to power this node on the right, you have to figure out that you can power the middle node first and then draw power to the last node from there. This teaches the player about one of the limitations of the game's mechanics. So, where did the trouble come in? Well, as I designed the puzzles, I found that I quickly exhausted the novelty of new mechanics. After a surface-level presentation of a mechanic, such as the lock and gate, I had a hard time designing new puzzles that use the same mechanics in new ways. I'm fairly certain there are a lot of hidden nuances, but I had difficulty designing them. As a result, the game had fewer puzzles than I had initially intended. I ended the design period with 15 puzzles, but I had initially intended to have more, or at least to have the potential to add more in the future. But I felt I had done everything that was possible with the game's mechanics without designing repetitive and uninteresting puzzles. So what is the solution? I could continue to design puzzles for the game and hope that as I went along I gained a deeper understanding of the game's interactions. Or I could add more mechanics to the game, opting to go for a wide selection of mechanics rather than deep mechanics. What solutions would you go for? Are there any interactions that I missed? What sorts of puzzles would you design for this game? If you want to try the game out for yourself, there's a link to Notomatic in the description below. Moving forward, I intend to continue to study puzzle design. There is a lot to learn, and I am looking forward to it. Thanks for watching.